When I got my Sony Fx30 last year, it was not really the camera that I wanted, but it was the only one that my budget allowed me to get. I wanted a camera like the Sony Fx3, but having used this camera for over a year now, I'm absolutely in love with it and the images that you get from its sensor. This is my 1-year review of the Sony Fx30. Now, as much as I would love this to be a long rambling essay about the Sony Fx30, when I sat down to write down the topics that I really cared about, that I wanted to talk about, only 3 came to my mind: image quality, the build quality, and the shortcomings of the camera. Let's start with the image quality. Now, most people would say that they got the Fx30 as their B cam or C cam and it only cost $1,500. To that, I would like to say, if you are somebody that thinks $1,500 is not a lot of money, yo, let's be friends. You and I, let's get together and set up a Patreon account. Let's do it. The point I'm trying to make is that the Fx30 is the only camera I have. It's not like I have a red Komodo or an FX6 on the side, as much as I would love that to be the case. Now, the more I use this camera, the more I fell in love with it. The images that come out of its downsample 6K sensor, it's absolutely fantastic. It's tasty. It made me realize that a camera is as good as I am as a filmmaker. Now, one of my biggest surprise when it comes to the Fx30 was the kind of photos this camera was able to take. I was one of those people who thought, why would you have a photo feature on a camera like the Fx30? But look at these photos. You can easily use these photos for your social media post or your YouTube thumbnails. I feel like most people, I was also conditioned by YouTube over the years into thinking, if a camera is not full frame or top of the line, then it's not worth it to get that camera. But this camera has changed my mind. I now feel once you get a camera that your budget allows you to, stick with it for at least 1 year or more. Instead of thinking, what if I get that bigger or better camera? Embrace the shortcomings of your camera and allow it to teach you to become a better filmmaker, because those shortcomings that we complain about will force us to find a way into getting the kind of images that we really want. Now, for example, the Fx30 is the most light-hungry sensor that you will ever work with, and therein lies its beauty, at least according to me. If I had the budget to get a camera with a bigger sensor, I will never get good at lighting, or at least it will take me way longer than it has. I'm not saying I'm good at lighting, by the way. The point I'm trying to make is that I now know how to light my scenes in order to get the kind of images that I have imagined. Am I there as a filmmaker where I want to be? Hell no, but I know I'll be ready when the opportunity comes. And I hope the opportunity comes soon because it has been a while. Now, this is not part of the script. I just realized that the statement I just made might lead you into thinking the Fx30 is absolute shit when it comes to low light, or you always need an artificial light. It is not true. I have shot a ton in low light conditions, in natural light, and the images that you get are really compelling. You might get some grain in the shadow areas, but to me that adds a beautiful texture to the whole image. Now let's talk about the other shortcomings of the Sony Fx30, because you are not going to get a crisp 120 frames per second with this camera unless you're flooding the sensor with a lot of light. But personally, I don't know when was the last time I used 120 frames per second. I am shooting everything at 4K DCI, so the maximum that I am doing is 50 frames per second, and I really like it. I really don't know if this mic is picking it up, but my dog Oscar is snoring away on the side here. It tells you about the quality of work that I am trying to do here. Let's talk about the build quality. The Fx30, when you first pick it up, might feel lighter than the Sony Fx3, but it is built really well. It feels good and comfortable in your hands. In the past 1 year that I've used this camera, it has taken a beating, more than I would like to admit. But it has come out without even a hint of a scratch. I have taken it to desert cities like Baku in Azerbaijan to Rajasthan, where the temperatures were close to 40 degrees Celsius all the time, and also to the Arctic where the temperatures were around minus 29 degrees Celsius. I have no idea how much those are in Fahrenheit, but my baby never failed to deliver. I remember once recently when I was in the Arctic, I was coming down a hill and I slipped and fell, as you would expect from somebody like me, and the camera flew out of my hand. The DJI mic that was on the camera broke from his clamp. Both the microphone and the camera survived. The point is that this is a camera that you can really rely on. Just don't intentionally throw your camera down a hill. If you have an extra FX30 lying around, throw them at me. My God, the jokes are bad. Wow, as I'm wrapping up this video, you have the sun that has finally decided to come out. You have that beautiful texture on the wall. The lighting is probably better. It's irritating, but it's not as irritating as those point of view photography reels that you see on Instagram and they never show you the final results. But it's way up there. Now, in conclusion, if you're somebody that is on the fence about the FX30 or thinking about the FX30, you should definitely get it. You would love this camera and it will help you grow as a filmmaker. And any camera that you might currently have, stick with it for at least a year or more. It will help you so much. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I will not ask you guys to subscribe. You have given me the gift of time and that is enough for me. You guys are awesome. I'll see you on the next one. You know what? Maybe subscribe.